Good evening, you handsome lot, and it is Friday. I tell you what, where do these weeks go? Well, I have been extremely busy this week, as always, and it's been just a lot of fast fit stuff. But however, we've got a 2019 Peugeot 208, and it is a 1.2 PureTech, and we're going to be changing the wet belt on it. Now, I'm going to make a bit of a strong statement here. People ask me a lot, which is the best engine, these or the Ecoboost? I'm going to say the Ecoboost is a better engine, because I do find that the timing belts on these engines do degrade a heck of a lot quicker than an Ecoboost. Right, let's get straight into it, and the first thing we're going to be doing is disconnecting that battery. Just pull that negative lead around there, out of the way, and then we can get the vehicle up in the air and get the oil drained out of it. Vehicle is now up in the air. We've got me lovely little receptacle. I'm going to remove the drain plug. Now, I think that this vehicle hasn't long been serviced, because the oil in it, I don't know if you can see, is it going to focus? The oil is fairly clean in it, and the oil filter does look reasonably newish. There we go, let's get that oil drained out. Now, regarding what I said earlier about which is the worst engine, this or the Ecoboost, this is the worst engine, but as far as repairs go, this is the easiest belt to remove. Now, I am in the middle of this, buzzing this sump off. All the oil going to be drilled. How is everybody anyway? What have we all been up to? Have we had any new tool purchases? And more to the point, is anybody coming to Auto Mechanica next week? It's going to be an absolutely unreal event. Now, with all them undone, we should be able to go and get a little rubber mallet and give it a bit of a clout, and that sump is off a little bit like that. With that sump removed, as you can see, that oil is nice and golden in that engine, and there's not much debris in that pickup, although there is quite a few little bits, but nothing excessive. Right, let's get me receptacle out of the way. We can put my little bucket there to catch drips. Now, I've also put my engine support under the vehicle. Engine support by Peugeot, absolutely brilliant tool, guys. You can drop the car down, and while we're dropping the vehicle down, we're just going to be removing this inner wheel arch as well. Now, I can't find the locking wheel that's on the car, so we're going to try and do it with the wheels on. One inner wheel arch now removed. So when we take the vehicle back up, remove all the crank pulley and stuff, we've got lots of room. With the vehicle back down to working height, I've gone ahead and removed the bolts out of the engine mount. You can pull that out of the way now. And just be careful, because there is a little coolant pipe that clips into that. Don't snap it. We can plonk that on one side now. Now, with that under engine support, that engine now is perfect, and we can take it up and down as we want, and we're not faffing about with a jack underneath or a block of wood here and a block of wood there. It's perfectly safe, and it saves a lot of faffing about. Right, we need to go ahead, remove the inlet manifold, air box, and a few little bits and bobs. You go ahead taking that manifold off, get yourselves an airline, and just give everything a little bit of a blowout. And another thing, I do get asked all the time, what technical information do I use? Well, it is all data. Once you put the details of the vehicle in, rather than look through all these, because it can be, I'm not going to lie, it is pretty complicated. But on anything, your search bar in the top right hand corner is going to be your best friend. Now, I've already put in the manifold. We press the drop down, and it does say remove refitting air in the manifold. Now, the reason why I'm showing you this way is because it's harder for me to show you down there. We've got all the drawings up now. We'll remove all the coil packs. Lots of little breather pipes. Now, please be careful when you're unplugging these, because these are brittle, especially as these cars are getting a little bit older. things will snap. So please take extra care. There's a few little nuts and bolts, a little evap valve underneath, and then we can just hook that and the manifold out. Now there is, where's it gone? Where's it gone? Where's it gone? A few little bolts securing the inlet manifold to the cylinder head. I'm going to go ahead and get that manifold off. One inlet manifold now removed. We put it safe in a nice little pile. Now, one thing to note on this rocker cover, there's two different sizes, 8mm and 10mm. Now there is 3 10mm, one by there, and also one by there. And you can get them mixed up. You can get them mixed up. If you can, take a picture so you know exactly where they go. Just get all these bolts out now, and that rocker cover should just lift off. Rocker cover is now removed. Now we're going to be getting this engine timed up, and the tool that I'm going to be using is a Laser Tools 8514, and this is the master kit. It does the turbo and the non-turbo. Now in this kit you can buy these keys individually, but see that measures the thickness of the belt. Obviously the older the belt, they're going to swell, and the idea of it is, if I can do it, show you, when you put that key on, it does go through the oil fill hole in the rocker cover. I thought it'd be easier to show you. If the belt's swollen, that key will fit there and there'll be no side-to-side movement, and that is ready for changing. Now if we compare it to the new belt, which is going to be hard for me to do, if I can hold it there, put it on, can you see it? You know what, I'll show you later on in the video. To time this engine up, we do need to lock the camshafts and also lock the crankshaft. Now because we're at the top, we're going to just align the camshafts first, and if we have a little look at technical information, see the camshaft? It's half moon at the bottom. If we get that flat now at the top, now I have spun this engine over, and get that tool just plonked on there, so we know that the camshafts are lined up. It's going to make it a little bit easier when we go underneath to lock the crank. Before we lock the crank, make sure you remove this camshaft locking tool, just so we just have to give it a little bit of a tweak to get the tool in. Now to lock the crank, you do need another little tool, which have I put it in? Which is that one there. And that goes through the bell housing, or through the sump, or well, the lower half of the sump, just the side of the exhaust by there. I don't know whether you can see, and that just slides in a little bit like that. Now let me try and see if I can set this up for you so you can see what I do. No. Anyway, you might be able to hear it. As I'm turning the engine over by hand, apply a little bit of pressure, hold it pretty much like that, so you're pushing it in. Can't get it back in, can't get it in the hole. And as you're winding the engine over, do it slowly, and you can feel, sometimes I like to close my eyes and then just rely on feel. And as you're going slowly, it should just go click. There we go. That is now locked. With the vehicle dropped back down, we can go ahead and put that camshaft locking tool back in place. Now you can use the rocker cover bolts to secure it. Very rare they slip. They shouldn't slip once it's pushed on, but just as a precaution, put some bolts in just to hold it down. Now we can take the vehicle back up and get that crank pulley off. We need to remove the alternator belt, which isn't a problem. A little pin just to keep that tensioner up out of the way. And then what we can do is, we have got 2 new belts to go back on. Get some cutters. And cut that water pump belt off. Now we can go ahead, 3/13s, and get that crank pulley off. With that pulley removed, We do have to attach another crankshaft holding tool, which uses the 3 bolts off the crank pulley. Get yourselves a 1/2 inch bar, just so you hold it. It's more, you can just gun the bolts out. But I think if you can take extra precautions, and there's tools there to hold it, just use your tools, isn't it? We're going to get an 18mm now and get on the gun and get that pulley off. Bolt now removed, 10mm on the tensioner, take the tension off the belt, and that should pull out. Be careful because you don't want to damage the crankshaft oil seal. With everything removed now from the bottom half of this engine, we can drop the car down again and pull the camshaft pulley. Camshaft. Oh, can't get my words out. Can't get my bloody words out. Cam belt out. Now, one thing I do get asked all the time is, do you have to remove the camshaft pulleys? No, you don't. Get the belt, put it around the pulleys, twist it into the middle, a little bit like that, and that belt then, oh, that's backfired on me, isn't it? No, I do need that sump, yeah, because I need to go back on this. I've got it in the right twizzle here, haven't I? But anyway, it does just twizzle that. Oh, like a little bit like that, a little bit like that, a little bit of faff, but yeah, they do normally come out a lot easier than that. But anyway, that is one belt out. Without a little bit of fiddling, well, it was a little bit of fiddling to get this back on, to be honest. I'm not going to lie. But the new belt is back in place. If we have a little look at the old belt, it has split quite bad. And there is quite a little bit of delamination on the inside of the belt. Now, I am waiting for... Where's it gone? I am waiting for parts to turn up, which should have been here this morning, but for some unknown reason the van's taken the wrong way, or who knows. It's Friday and it's one day closer to the weekend. But anyway, we've still got plenty of stuff to do while I'm waiting for bits. What we're going to be doing, just removing these camshaft solenoids, and we're going to give them a little bit of a clean, because if we have a little look, there is some belt on them. There is one on the intake and the exhaust, and that is the exhaust one, as you can see. That belt breaks up, blocks that wire gauze, doesn't allow the oil through for the camshaft pulleys to do their thing. You get faults. Always make sure that these are clean. And yes, we are still waiting for the parts to turn up. The camshaft solenoids have now been cleaned and they've been put back in. We're going to go clean the engine down with a wire brush on a drill and give that engine a little bit of a clean down. Now, I have already cleaned. I've had to say, I always take my glasses off to clean them down, because nothing worse than oil splashes all over them. Now, I have already cleaned the sump down. I'll give it a bit of a wipe in a minute. Yeah. Let's give that a little bit of a cleaner-oonie. After about 5 minutes of cleaning with a wire brush and a little bit of brake cleaner, that engine is now spotless. Now, if you see me doing the timing covers on the Fords, where I use 2 studs just as a guide to slide it in, well, I'm using these 2 bolts. Again, when we offer that sump up, it's just going to fit into place beautifully. Now, I have put some sealant on. Now, I absolutely love this stuff. Probably the best stuff I've used in 25 years. Don't forget to put a little V, maybe you can see it, in the nozzle, and that'll give you a nice even application over the sump. I'm going to give this now, and I think this is a lot of people make this mistake. They put the sealant on, as soon as it's on the component, fit it straight away. Well, don't. What you need to do is leave it 5 minutes, depending on the temperature. If it's a cold day, it's probably going to run a little bit longer. If it's hot, not as long, and just leave it till it gets a little bit of a skin on it, because that chemical reaction has now started. When you put it up, it'll go off and cure. Lovely. Right, let's give that a little bit of time and then we can get it fitted. Sump is now on and everything is torqued up to spec. We've got a brand new oil filter and also a brand new sump plug. Now, we have got the parts that I've been waiting for. There's a crankshaft, I was going to call it, identifies as a crankshaft sensor. Crankshaft seal, obviously. We need to put that in, and also I've got a new gasket for there and also a new crank bolt. So I'm going to go ahead now and put this crankshaft seal in. New seal is now in, new crank bolt. Before you put tension on the belt, this crank bolt, it does need to be finger tight and then just slacken it off, because the gear that drives the timing belt is free floating. So if you tighten it up and then put your tension on your belt, your tension's going to be wrong. That tension is absolutely perfect. Now I've done the first stage of 50 Newton meters. Now it does need to go 180, so I put a mark at 12 o'clock so we know that we've done the correct sequence. And I'm going to be using Pickler's new 1/2 inch torque wrench, and that is absolutely insane. I've had it a while now, been putting it through its paces. Flexi head, quite long. It's decent. Everything down the bottom there for now is done. I've gone ahead and removed the camshaft holding tools. We put some reference marks, so when we spin that engine over by hand, everything saves putting the tools on and off, on and off. If everything's lining up, everything's going to be right, isn't it? Now I have put one there on the crank. Now going back to at the beginning of the video where I said, what the hell have I done with it? So, where I showed you this key. Now look at the new one now. You can see that there's movement there. Like I said, these keys, they are readily available from Laser or online or somewhere like that. But yeah, right, let's get this engine turned over. I've now gone ahead and spun the engine over, and everything is aligning back up perfectly. Now we give everything a little bit of a clean, make sure we've got no oil everywhere. We've also cleaned this timing cover as well. Now I have ordered, well, there's the bags from there, all the bits from Peugeot. A new rubber seal to go on that plate. I'm going to get this on now and get it torqued up. I think it's like 10 Newton meters. Everything out is pretty much done. Ooh, there's a bloody wheel there. Anyway, everything is done underneath. We put a new stretch belt on the water pump, new alternator drive belt. And I've also used this tool by Laser Tools. It slips over the water pump and it just guides the belt on. Makes things so much easier. Right, let's drop the vehicle down. We've got all the manifolds and stuff to put back on. Anyway, with this vehicle dropped back down again, we need to build this top end up. Now, make sure that everything, all your fascias, are nice and clean. Get a little bit of elbow grease with a rag and give it a wipe down. We've got a new rocker cover gasket on the rocker cover, obviously. Yeah, let's go ahead and get this engine built back up. Right, well, I've done some Friday magic, and that car is now all back together. Let me flip it round. There we go. Doesn't that look a little bit better? We've cleaned all the plastics down. We haven't had to disturb the coolant level. We've put some fresh oil in it. I've disconnected the coil packs because we don't want this car to fire. We're going to wind it over on the key. In fact, let's go and do it now. Let's get on the key. I need to put all my covers and that in this in a minute. Ooh. First, this car needs some electricity, doesn't it? Can't do nothing without electricity, can we? Right. Let's wang it over. Oil pressure built up. Connect the coil packs. A little bit like that. Let's get on the key. give it a big start. It's got two choices, isn't it, really? It either starts or it doesn't. And if it doesn't, we've obviously done something bloody wrong. There we go. The car now is running and sounding like a little Singer sewing machine. Well, this car now has been ticking over for probably about 10, 15 minutes or so, and we are up to temperature. We're looking at our long-term and short-term fuel trim as well, making sure that we've got no horrible air leaks. If we have, I'm going to pull the dipstick out now. Let me put that in the graph here. If you've got any air leaks, right, as soon as you pull that dipstick, you'll notice that shoot all over the place. See? Plunk it back in. So I'm happy with everything. We're going to take it up in the air now and make sure we've got no leaks. Right, well, this car is up in the air, as you can see, and everything is looking bone dry. We've got no leaks. Air conditioning is working as it should be. Car is sounding absolutely perfect. Now, this car has got a couple of failed dry shafts on it, and these are coming in tomorrow. But yeah, if you're coming to Auto Mechanica next week, I will definitely see you there. And if you're not, tough, because you're going to be missing a good few days. Now, if you've made it this far in the video and you haven't subscribed already, please hit that subscribe and like. You know what? I just can't get my words out today. It's been one of them days. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed the video. I will definitely see you on the next one. Let's get it, Sam.